Hello guys, and welcome to today's practice. Happy to have you here, and as always, starting at the top of your mat in Samastiti, so bringing your toes together, engaging your thighs, engaging your glutes, hips, lower abdomen, bringing the sternum back and up as you inhale, shoulders up and down, straightening the arms and bringing the chin parallel to the mats. Bringing your hands to heart center and closing your eyes, preparing for today's 3 opening Oms. Deeply inhaling for the first Om. Gently inhaling and exhaling as you bring your arms to the side of your body and gently open up your eyes. So we have done the sun salutation A, we did chair pose, so we are going into sun salutation B. So as always, starting in Samastiti, as you inhale, going into Utkatasana, exhaling down to forward fold. Inhale, coming up with a straight back, so halfway up, and then jump or step back to Chaturanga. From here, upward dog as you inhale, and then downward dog as you exhale. And here is where it gets interesting, and we're going to go a little bit more into detail today. So from here, you want to be going into Warrior 1. So what we actually are going to be doing is turning the heel of the left foot in. So normally, something really cool about yoga and the human body is that if you're downward dog, that I've noticed actually, no one's ever told me this, so maybe this is just something I've noticed. But anyway, if you're in downward dog, technically, when you turn in your foot, your foot should be exactly that same distance so that it is already right in between your palms. So just turning in your heel, 90 degree would be ideal, but it could be a 45 degree angle as well. And then you're going to bring your right foot, and you don't need to do anything fancy like bring it up and then go there. Some people will do that in vinyasa. Some people like doing that. It's really not necessary. It's technically like using more energy, but if you feel like you want that back stretch before you go, just, you know what, go ahead and do it, no problem. But you're going to bring your right foot in between your palms. So now, technically, you should already have heel to heel. So when you have your leg here, you can already have it bent at 90 degrees and then come up in Warrior 1. Or you might have it a little bit unbent like this, depending on your balance and your leg strength. And then you might want to come up, and then once you're up, in whatever position is easier for you, then you bring it to the 90 degrees. Because when we're doing Warrior 1, the most important part of the pose is your back leg. So the back leg, you don't want it to be like this. You don't want it to be weak. You really want the back leg to be completely engaged and pushing onto the outer edge of your foot. So a really good way to practice Warrior 1 is actually to put your foot on the side of a wall here. So I hope you guys can see this, where my foot is directly on the wall. And you get into your Warrior 1 position. And then you start pushing against the wall. And you might be able to see that as you push against the wall, your arch lifts as well. And anyone that's watched the Samastiti video about Padabandha knows how important it is to have a lifted arch. That lifted arch there is really a symptom of you having an engaged leg and in consequence protecting those joints, those ligaments, everything. So when you lift up the arch, you're energetically also sucking in that air, helping with your balance. So keeping your foot like this and being in the warrior one. This is a great way to practice it. It's also going to allow you to really understand about the pelvis being completely straight. So this is how you start your setting up for warrior one, is with the back leg, the brain of the asana, bringing the pelvis, making sure that your arms are up. Or if you have a tendency to go like this, I would recommend starting just like we did in chair pose, keeping your elbows at an L shape. And then the last thing you do is go into the 90 degrees. So we definitely want the knee to be right over top of the ankle. So just to recap how we're doing it from downward dog. So from downward dog here, we're not taking any breaths, by the way. As soon as you go upward dog, downward dog, for the sun salutation B, turn in your left heel, bring your right foot to the front, and then again, you can be already at 90 degrees, pushing back here, coming up with an inhale, and then exhaling back down, going into chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog. And then from here, the exact same thing on the other side. So you take your right foot, turning the heel in, lifting up the arch, pressing in to the outer edge of your foot, bringing your left foot in between your palms. And from this strong position, keeping your pelvis straight, coming up. And then exhaling back down for chaturanga, upward dog, and then downward dog. And this downward dog, we're holding for 5 breaths. So hands firmly on the mat, pushing away from the mat, scapulas away from each other, chin tucked in, bum up in the air, arches lifted, thighs engaged. Blah. And here, if you've already been practicing the Ujjayi breath with the daily practices this last week, you might already have the habit of it, but technically in Ashtanga, we're always using Ujjayi breathing. So these 5 breaths in downward dog are really the perfect place for you to start integrating Ujjayi into your practice. Perfect. And then from these 5 breaths, looking up, bending your knees to either jump or step to the top of the mat, and then exhaling completely for the forward bend, and inhaling as you come up in chair pose. Exhaling to Samastiti. And that is for today's asana practice. So warrior one is not an easy pose necessarily. Very good pose to be holding, to be knowing how to do properly. And if you've got any questions, as always, send me a message, write in the comments, let me know how you thought about it. Try to really push against the wall. Makes a big difference. So grounding into your seated position of preference. Straightening your shoulders, making sure that your spine is nice and tall. Closing your eyes. Your hands can be on their respective knees. As we move into the Ujjayi breathing. Remembering to close the throat. Focusing on the in and out of the Ujjayi breathing. Always feeling free to exhale just a little bit longer than you inhale. Such as with many things, the more you give, the more you are able to receive. The more you exhale, the more you are able to inhale afterwards. And notice as you are doing the Ujjayi breathing, how when you close your throat, as you exhale, you can control the exhalation much more. You can control the inhalation much more as well. Hence the whole advantage of Ujjayi breathing as well. Not only heating up the body, keeping the body warm, helping with the assimilation of oxygen, but we are also able to, instead of just breathing normally, it's very difficult to control that breath. But if you're doing the Ujjayi breathing, very slowly you can inhale and exhale. And just fun fact, very fun fact, here in India, you could say, my yoga teacher that was from a village said that they used to say this, and it's that there's a kind of theory of a limited number of breaths in your life. As if each person was born with, let's say, 3 billion breaths, or everyone has a different number of breaths. And the more you breathe fast, the faster you're using those breaths, hence the faster you're going to die. And then if you are to use these breaths very, very slowly and slow down your breathing, technically you would live longer. And it's very, very interesting that ancestral kind of knowledge or information is very, very, very accurate if you look at the repercussions of stress on the nervous system and on your health. So shallow, rapid breathing is mainly the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. If you're always in sympathetic, then you won't be resting and digesting properly, right, as the parasympathetic. And my yoga teacher was saying, look at dogs. They only live 7, 8, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years maximum, and they breathe so fast. And then look at turtles. They live hundreds of years and they breathe so slow. So just fun fact, because it just popped up now, of how beautiful India is, and the yoga and the breath and all of this ancestral knowledge. So just moving into the meditation in between my babbling there. Grounding back in to your seated position. And today, once again, we will be humming with the chakras. We are obviously doing the same breath and the same meditation every week. As you've noticed, we will be switching this up very soon. So bear with me once again as we go through each chakra with a very deep inhale, and on the exhale, and try to make it last as long as you can. So starting with the root chakra, inhaling deeply. Inhaling deeply for the sacral chakra. For the Manipura. For the heart chakra. For the throat chakra. Third eye. And finally, for the crown chakra, deeply inhaling. And then deeply exhaling. Going back to your deep belly breathing. Bringing your hands to heart center, preparing for the 3 closing Oms for today's practice. Deeply inhaling. Deeply inhale and exhale, keeping your eyes closed, bringing your hands behind your back, grabbing your wrist, inhaling as you open up your chest and exhaling as you bow down, bowing down to yourself, bowing down to today's practice, and bowing down to the potential power of the speed of your breath to define your lifespan. Just fun thoughts, bowing down to fun thoughts. And inhaling as you come back up. Bringing your hands to the front, keeping your eyes closed, rubbing your palms together, creating the heat inside your palms. And then placing them directly on your eyes with your fingers on your forehead. Deeply inhaling and exhaling as you slowly and gently bring your palms away from your face. And very, very, very gently let the light come in, looking at your palms and being hopefully super ready for the day. Thank you so much for today's practice as always, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you and getting your feedback and comments.